Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series.
Let's just get right to it today, listeners. We're not gonna do any
no time
little
for
fancy
pleasantries or civilities.
Exactly.
No, none of that.
We're gonna get right to it. I have the results. Our listeners have spoken. Do we think that Hagrid is getting paid for teaching? 43% say yeah, girl, aka Team Arri. 57% said hell no, Team Adam. So our listeners have spoken. I'm so shocked.
Have spoken.
I'm so shocked that everyone's just like, no, there's no way he's getting paid. So thank you for the 43%. We're like, yeah, but we have been outvoted, guys.
Hagrid is 100% being taken advantage of.
I thought maybe Dumbledore is just giving him like a giant bonus. I liked, was it your friend Matt? Your friend Matt that suggested he's like getting a
stipend.
What, like room, stipend, but like room and board covered essentially.
Yeah. Listen,
like, yes.
Dumbledore has time and time again proved that he's not as great as we are led to believe. So
I mean, that's
this
true.
Could be one of those times.
But just for some reason with Hagrid, he can like do no wrong. For some reason with Haggy.
Here's my update.
What's your update?
My update comes from a listener named Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
He messaged me on Twitter and he said, Hey,
girl.
So the blast-ended Scroots are an illegal crossbreed that Hagrid did. And he's testing them out with the kids. It ends up being a plot point with Rita writing a bad article about him after finding out he's half giant. Which I totally forgot.
Now that he's saying that, I do remember her mentioning something about the Scroots and it being like a...
Yes.
But I don't think anyone does anything about it. They're like, well...
Yeah, again, I mean, my point is still proven that, like, it doesn't go anywhere. The plot line goes nowhere.
Yeah, they don't do anything. Even when they know they're, like, illegal crossbreeds, nothing happens. They're not seized from Hagrid.
Right.
A
crossbreed of what? I guess we'll find out later.
Crabs and scorpions. They literally said that in this chapter, so that's my guess.
Oh, no. Ay.
Girl, that's like the least of my worries. There is so much happening in this world.
But thank you to Ryan for messaging me. Oh, it looks like I have so many message notifications.
Adam! You need to look at them.
Oh no, this one's from a porn bot. Okay, this one. This is the one of the 5 were real.
Okay.
We also have one more message. This is Message Corner. This is the Owlery. This is Owl Post.
Owlery. This is our Owl Post section, y'all.
Yeah. My wife and I legit are 90% of the way through your podcast backlog and absolutely dying laughing. We just listened to all 7 books and audiobook and talk shit about how dumb they are the whole way through.
Our tribe, people that love it so much.
Family.
Yeah, love the series, but also love to poke at it. This is our tribe.
Yeah. Takeaways here are Harry is emo, Ron is a jealous brat, and Hermione is best girl ever, so smart and only one with common sense. Anyway, 5 stars, keep it going. Hashtag Albussy.
Albussy. Albus, more like Albussy. I mean, you're not wrong.
I clearly never get on the HP Twitter. I did say that like a couple weeks ago that I was like, girl.
That's okay. They'll be so pleasantly surprised, I'm sure.
It's a little treat. A little treat to the audience. This week, Arri, we read chapter 18 called The Weighing of the Wands. Correct. Arri, what happens in this chapter?
Wands are weighed and Rita Skeeter is introduced.
Yeah.
You like that?
Great. Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, Harry has a really rough go of it. So it's a really rough week for him. Then he meets Rita Skeeter and his wand gets examined by Ollivander. That's a more accurate description.
I think this is what more can you say than this is the reason why Hermione Granger is the best friend you can have.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if it's in this book, but like as he's not talking to Ron for a while, I think at some point, or maybe it's later if they have, I don't know. Do they have a fight later? I can't remember. He even complains that like Hermione doesn't get certain things about him or whatever. And I was just like, no, boo. I don't know when that happens, but it's just like
boo Sung-Kwan.
Boo Sung-Kwan to that. But yeah, the chapter starts with Harry waking up and he just feels he feels that sense of like ick, but he doesn't remember why at first. And then he's like, oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be me waking up to go to work tomorrow.
I remember having that feeling when Trump won the election. Like I woke up and just felt sick.
I didn't go to work the next day. I called out sick.
Yeah. So Harry wakes up. Getting into it. Harry is like, oh, right, this is why I feel miserable. And then he pulls back his curtains because he's going to try to talk to Ron right away, but Ron has already left. So then he heads down to the common room and then everyone claps for him. And I was just like, oh, no.
It's rough. It's real rough. Listen, we shit on Harry a lot. I'm probably not going to shit on Harry in this chapter because it's real rough.
Oh my gosh, no, I am totally on Harry's side in this chapter. In fact, when he kind of loses it in book 5, I'm remembering all of this in anticipation of that book because I'm just like, this kid has already been, you know, like being like, no, I didn't put my name in. And everyone's like, sure. Like he has already not been believed. Not to mention the Chamber of Secrets mess.
Yeah, book 5 is tough because he blows up so early in the book.
Well, he's like he's so mean to Hermione and Ron.
He's very mean to them. He's very mean to them.
That's the roughest part.
And it's all in caps. And it's like, I don't need to read caps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. I would have gotten that he yells without you having to put it in caps.
Right. So as he's leaving the common room, because he's like, oh, no, stop clapping for me. He runs into Hermione, who very kindly brought him some food. And then she's like, do you want to go for a walk?
This is the kindest, sweetest, most gentle. It's so sweet.
I know. Yeah. And then we were wrong. She believes him, right? She doesn't even ask him if he did it. She's like,
she doesn't even ask him.
Yeah. She was like, oh, no, by the look on your face, I knew that you didn't do it. And he's like, oh. And then she was like, yeah, no, I totally believe you. And then he's like, well, have you seen Ron? Which I was like, be a little more thankful that she believes you. Like,
I'm also going to go out on a limb and say that they are, I like that neither Ron, we obviously don't know what Hermione and Ron talk about because we are not privy to those conversations. But there is no feeling as if Ron has asked her to pick a side, or we know that Harry has not asked her. Like, she's just, you know what I mean? No. Like, it feels like they know that it's between them. They're not trying to drag her, like, into the middle of it to decide who is right. or whatever, which is also
And she also makes it clear that she won't be pulled into the middle of it, which I'm like, good for you. He asks if she's seen Ron, and she's like, yeah, but then she also suggests that Ron doesn't really think he put his name in. I don't know. What did you think about this? I was like, maybe this is very, what do you call it? What's the term when someone's like really, like very observant of her? When someone sees the truth of the matter that like the person themselves can't even admit. There's a term for that. Prescient? That wasn't what I was thinking, but I mean, if that works,
cognizant.
Great. Yeah, maybe cognizant. She's a
soothsayer.
She's psychic, is what she is. She's a mind reader. I mean, observant, I guess. Like, she's very. When you kind of see straight through something. I can't think of it. It's like on the tip of my brain.
Clairvoyant?
I don't know. No, I don't know what it is, but she is just, I feel like she has more awareness of what's happening with Ron than Ron himself even has, which like that tracks for Hermione. But the fact that she was like, I don't think he really even thinks you did put your name, he doesn't really think you put your name, and not really, but he's just jealous. So he has to blame it on that, because, and I was like, I don't know. There's a part of me that maybe feels like Ron just doesn't trust Harry. I think he's just kind of questioning him in this moment. Like, he's like, well, he did say, it'd be kind of cool to have all that glory. And he did say that he would have put his name in while everyone was sleeping. And so I just feel like he's kind of like sus. But then later I do feel like he's like, no, I don't think you did it now. Like, that's crazy. I don't know.
I don't think Ron thinks he did it. I think Ron thinks someone did it for Harry. But like Harry maybe had someone do it.
Yeah, had someone put it in for him. Okay.
Because I think he's smart enough to know that there's no way Harry could have done it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. I just think he's...
And because the entire thing is such a loophole that anyone can just put anyone else's name. I'm not doing this again for the third week in a row, but I could. But I could. Know that I could.
No. I mean, there's so many ways that someone else could have put his name in. So you know what, Ron? Valid. Not great that you don't believe your friend, but like valid that like, well, something could have been done, because
it really is incredible that Hermione has to spell out that Ron is jealous of Harry. Like Harry.
I think isn't it such a grass is greener type of situation in this though? Because like Harry obviously is an orphan. He didn't know he was a wizard. There's this whole like Harry has a completely different perspective on his own life. And the whole like, well, people are like, immediately he goes to, well, people are always staring at me and we'll see, see how he'd like that and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's just like, it's the whole like princess switch, Prince and the Pauper, like that.
The Creevy brothers get dragged again in this chapter for wanting to talk to Harry. Yet again, he is like ignores them beckoning him over. And I'm like, just go entertain the children. They're children. It's fine. Anyway,
it is
strong feelings about Colin Creevy.
Yeah. It is a little weird to me that we have never had a conversation about Ron being jealous of Harry. I mean, I guess because this is the first time it's manifested like this. He's always been able to kind of like shrug it off. But he couldn't this time, as Hermione said. It was just like, this was one time too many, and it just...
I think because this time is the first time that it has a monetary value attached to it.
And Ron was talking to Harry about like, I think I would do it. Like if I could figure out a way to do it, I would do it.
But this kind of remanifests in book 6 when he goes out for Keeper.
That's more like him. Degree. That's more like the inner saboteur though. That's not like Harry.
That's the RuPaul of it all.
Yeah, it's the RuPaul of it all. But it does make me think about like when we were 14, like, I mean, this is not something I'm proud to admit at all. But like, I remember if like I had a friend that like just didn't have to do anything and got like all the attention, like, yeah, it was annoying. It's just like,
jealousy is a natural emotion.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You just have to know what to do with it and how to.
And being 14, it's so hard to like.
Every emotion is the biggest emotion you've ever had.
When you're 14.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, as stupid as this is, and like it's shitty that Ron doesn't believe Harry. Like I was just like, when you're 14, it's just the smallest things become the biggest deal. So yeah, Harry is like, well, you tell him that I'll trade with him whenever he wants, and he can have people staring at his forehead and following him around. And Hermione's like, I'm not going to tell him anything, so shut your goddamn mouth. Yeah. Which I was like, you tell him. And then he was like, well, maybe he'll change his tune once I break my neck. And Hermione's like, you need to stop this. That's not funny. Shame on you.
Yeah.
And then she was like,
Hermione,
you need to write you need to write to Sirius, actually. Let's just stop this combo right here, and I'm going to suggest you write to Sirius.
Hermione for Wizard King.
Yeah. For real. Hermione,
honestly,
when she joins the ministry, when she is in the ministry, then I will have hope for all wizard kind. Then I will be
they are on a quick walk to extinction the way they are going. They have to dial
our listener that said Hermione is best girl, like confirmed. Like this confirmed. We read that on the perfect chapter because she is best girl in this chapter and every other one.
All 199 of them.
Yeah. She's like, you need to write to Sirius because he essentially knew something like this was going to happen. He was just like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And Harry's like,
right.
I don't want to because he's going to like rush up in here, which I was like, okay, Sirius, who escaped Azkaban and is like on the run with a hippogriff.
More like this Azkaban.
Oh no.
she
Azkaban. That ass should be banned. He's like, I don't want to put Sirius in danger. And then he's like, why do I even need to tell him? And Hermione's like, because everyone is gonna know about this. And Harry's like, no. I was like, girl, you are Harry Potter. Are you stupid? I was like, there's already like an article ready to go. It's on the reviewer's desk for final
so dumb
touches.
Editor.
Editor. Of course it's going to be in the Daily Prophet. And then sure enough, Rita's there to write an article on him immediately.
Yeah.
So I was like, I literally said, obviously everyone is going to hear about this. What? Dumb.
I don't think so. I don't think this will be news.
No, not at all.
No. Only Barty Crouch and Ludo Bagman are here. It's not really news if they're involved.
Yeah, Ludo's not going to tell anyone. Ludacris Bagman? I'm sorry. Have you met
Ludacris? Bartemius and Ludacris?
Quiet as a mouse.
Quietus?
Quietus? Quietus as a mouse? So he does end up going to the Owlery, and then he sends a letter to Sirius. And Hedwig gets really excited because she's like, okay, it's my time. Here I am. And he's like, no. And so she like stabs him with her talons, which I was like, I don't know. I just like sassy Hedwig. You guys know I love sassy Hedwig. I'm here for it.
Hedwig, I feel bad for Harry. The first book where she like gets a personality. I feel like in all the other books so far, she's just like
kind of like
the owl.
or just like pleasant.
Yeah.
So he sends a letter. He sends a letter to Sirius. Hedwig's pissed about it. And then like the rest of the school just is like shitting on him. I was like, oh, this would suck. Like everyone is mad. Everyone is just like, Cedric is the real champion. Like Hufflepuff is super annoyed at him. And like, I did like that she isn't Joe. Joe has Harry mention at some point in this chapter that he understands why Hufflepuff is kind of frustrated with him.
Yeah.
As I'm wearing my Hufflepuff colors today. And I was like, yeah, that's the part that is hard for me. Cause I'm like, obviously Harry is innocent, but the fact that this is where I just take issue with like the adults. Cause I'm like, this boy, Harry, is going through all this shit because you haven't just been like, look, he can't compete. Like he can't. He's too young. We had the age line. We just can't let him. Because now he's just going through all this bullshit and everyone's mad at him. And like, the Gryffindors and the Hufflepuffs typically get along great, but like they're just like Harry Potter, the boy who lived, from their perspective, is just trying to steal the glory from like the one person in their house that like has been able
has been named,
has been recognized for his achievements, like is doing well, is bringing glory to their house, because we know that Gryffindor has won the fucking house cup every single year. So they're just like, okay, this Gryffindor boy, like, get over yourself, you know? I get it. I get that. So I know it's not Harry's fault, but I get the frustration. And then
I don't know why Ravenclaw is like pissed.
Probably because Gryffindor is just the girl to beat. JK has written it that way. So they're just like, ugh.
She has written it, and so it is so.
Well, just thus far, it's like, okay, Gryffindor is the whatever, the front runner, the, you know, the champion, whatever, the house to beat. That's how she's written it. So he goes to herbology, and was it Ernie McMillan and Justin Finch Fletchley don't talk to him, and they're kind of giving him a cold shoulder, and then they like laugh at him when something goes wrong in class. And even Parmesan Sprout.
Even good old Parmesan. Pomodoro Sprout. Which, like, she's not having it.
I kind of like that. I like that she's like, you know, I don't know. I like that she's just like very protective of her house in that way. It's just kind of like, this was our time. Don't really appreciate that from you, Harry. But once again, Harry's innocent. So
are you only able to be the head of a house if you had been that house when you were
right? Yeah, you have to be in that. You had to have been sorted into that house.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way. So what if like what if there were no Slytherin teachers? Filch. Filch would be.
Yeah. They'll just have the Bloody Baron be the
the ghost,
the house ghost, and the head of house.
Yeah. So then they're heading to Care of Magical Creatures, and Malfoy shows up, and what's happening?
Being the Bloody Baron, going to a staff meeting.
So specific. Hello.
I have something to say.
I have an opinion on Peeves. I would like to share.
The blankets are leaving the students cold. We need new blankets in the Slytherin dungeons.
What is this?
He cares about the students.
I'm here for one reason and one reason alone, and that is the well-being of our students.
The walls are starting to crack, and there are drips coming through the walls. We need to get that looked at by maintenance. I need someone to put in a work order for that.
Oh my God, Adam, your next role is the
I don't have hands.
We need to start make a TikTok video of you being the Bloody Baron at staff meeting, please. TikTok, here we come. They run into Malfoy as they're heading to their other class, and Malfoy is like, "Oh, Potter, you won't be around much longer. Oh, Potter." And then he's like very quickly distracted because Hagrid's like, "You guys are gonna take the Scroots for a walk." What are we doing? I literally, when I was listening to this part, I was dying laughing because I was just thinking about Adam reading this part. Like more Scroots. They're taking them for walks. I keep imagining like, I don't know why I was imagining this, but like in Beauty and the Beast, the little like footrest that is a dog that's been turned into a foot. I was picturing like that with like talons or something, like on a leash, like running around. Yeah, with the scorpion tail and like little pincers, like running around over the grass and like
Girl,
dragging these
skimming.
Students.
I was skimming. I was like, I cannot do this anymore. This is boring to talk about at this point.
Adam, we need to talk about your skimming problem.
I'm getting all the pertinent information.
Like, I love every chapter. You're like, I was skimming that part. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, we don't. I dive in when plot starts happening, which has nothing to do with Scroots in this entire book.
As soon as the word Scroot pops up on the page, Adam is like,
I did think it was very funny when he was like, where do we put the leash?
Yeah.
And he was like,
what part?
On what part of the body? He was like, just around the middle.
The waist. Okay. Cinch them.
Cinch.
Honey. So then Hagrid's like, come and help me with this really big one, which I was like,
it's so stupid.
I was like, no, what is happening? And then Hagrid's like, I believe you. And Harry's like, oh, thank you. But then did you peep that he was like, yeah, Dumbledore believes you. So I do. Literally, like you said at the beginning when Moody came in and Hagrid just was like,
yeah.
You're totally right.
Dumbledore
He's just
clapped,
like,
so he was like,
oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, well, Dumbledore said that, so,
Yeah.
He just, like, waits to hear what Dumbledore thinks, and then he's like, well, Dumbledore said this, so that's what I would say. Because Dumbledore said. So they get, I don't know if I should say they get finished. They're walking the Scroots, which are now like 3 feet long, and I died when Hagrid was like, looks like they're having fun. Can you imagine? These students are being dragged on their stomachs. Like, and he's like, oh, what a good time. This is great.
So stupid. I would never ever take this class. I am so annoyed reading the shenanigans that is going on.
No, I'm sorry. Like, the fact that it was one thing last year when he had the accident with the hippogriff, because that was really, that was really Malfoy's fault. But like this is on Hagrid.
This is on Hagrid.
This should not, he is not a good teacher. Just off of the Scroots alone.
I'm gonna write a book. It's a tell-all. It's an expose about the horrible care of magical creatures class, and it's called "From Hippogriffs to Flobberworms: The Blast-Ended Scroot Story,"
and everything in between. Yeah, bring me the Nifflers. All right, y'all, I'm ready. Why are we not? We see unicorns later in this book, thanks to a different teacher, Grubbly Plank.
Right.
Like, come on, bro. So basically, thankfully, Hagrid believes him. He's pretty much the only. He's pretty much the only person that does, other than Hermione and obviously Dumbledore. The next few days are terrible. Harry's like comparing it to his second year when everyone thought that he was the heir of Slytherin. So, which I'm just like, it's really weird. Like, I'm just like, you guys all blamed him for this before. Mm-hmm. Like, or not this. You blamed him for something before, and sure enough, he was telling the truth. So it's just like, it is kind of weird that no one believes him. Like, I'm just like, it reminds me of the conversation you and I have had about like people just not believing you because you're a kid, and how it's just like, what?
It sends like shivers up my spine. The idea.
Yeah, believe children, please.
Unless they're lying, because sometimes they really do be lying. They really stay on these streets lying, and it's wild.
Adam's going back on that, actually.
I'm just saying, believe children until you need to stop believing children, and then don't believe them anymore.
No one's on his side. It doesn't help that Cedric looks like a champion more than Harry does, because he's just so fine.
Handsome.
And he notes that, the girls that were trying to get Crumb to sign their hat and lipstick, my favorite characters, they're also now flocking Cedric everywhere he goes. So him and Crumb are getting a lot of positive attention, and Harry is getting no positive attention. And he's still waiting for Sirius's reply. He hasn't heard from Sirius. Hedwig's still pissed at him. Trelawney is like predicting his death like every class, like more and more. And then he is just so stressed that he like bombs in Charms class. So he has like extra work to do. And then after that, he has to go to double potions with the Slytherins, which that sounds like a nightmare. And so then when he gets there, he notices that all the Slytherins are wearing Support Cedric Diggory, the real Hogwarts champion badges. And then when you tap on them or something, it changes to Potter Stinks. And I would just like to say, this is the administration's fault.
Yeah, what are we doing?
This also is terrible. This poor boy.
Also, it's not clever. Like, maybe if it like was an anagram and it became something else, like then I'd be like, well, at least there's thought put into it. But like, Potter Stinks. I don't know. Try a little harder. Do a punch up.
Well, who was it? Who was it that made it up? I guess Malfoy.
On that one, probably.
Wait. Okay, if this was Malfoy's idea, I don't think we know if it is or not. Maybe it is. He would have come up with something way cleverer. Malfoy's got some zingers.
I think it's Pansy's idea. This gives me huge Pansy Parkinson energy.
I mean, that's no better. That's even worse. Then it's like, the one female Slytherin that we know came up with a bad button idea.
Yeah. She loves to craft.
No woman can be funny in this universe. Jesus Christ.
The worst thing in one of the worst things in this book series happens in this chapter in like 2 minutes when you're going to talk about it. The thing that happens with Hermione. Oh no, girl, I have a very big note about this. So Malfoy insults Hermione and it pushes Harry over the edge, which like valid. After the week he's had, I would have snapped too. I was like, oh yeah, just saying the one person that is on my side and standing by me, you're going to try and come for them right now. Like, fuck off. So Malfoy and Harry like pull their wands on each other. Then they Harry hits Goyle. Malfoy hits Hermione. And then Hermione's already big front teeth are growing bigger and bigger. And Snape finally appears and asks Malfoy to explain, which of course he does. And he's like, Harry attacked me. And they're like, no, we attacked each other, bitch. And then he's like, Goyle, his spell hit Goyle. And Goyle has like fungus all over his face or something. And then he's like, okay, Snape's like, okay, go to the hospital room. And then was it Ron? I think Ron says, and Malfoy hit Hermione, and Hermione's like trying to cover up her teeth, which are like huge because they're like down to her, I think it's at her collar now. And Severus Snape, this is the worst
Professor
supposed Severus hero Snape of this book series.
Professor Severus Snape and head of Slytherin House looks at Hermione Granger, a 14-year-old A+ student, not that it matters what they're doing, but like an incredible student, and goes, I see no difference. To which Hermione completely breaks down, is like sobbing, and runs away to the hospital wing by herself. And Harry and Ron, rightfully so, are like screaming at him. I expect no less. Fuck this man.
This is
Dumbledore. This is on your hands. The blood is on your hands, Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Like
the teeth are in your collar, Dumbledore.
I was so, I mean, I know that this happens in this chapter, but I just was like,
I was dreading as it was coming because I remember the visceral. I remember my first time reading that, and like the way she describes Hermione hearing what he says and like her eyes welling up with tears is so hard because she is a great character, but specifically in this chapter has been so great that it's like so vicious. I don't understand people who give Severus Snape a pass. I will never understand it. It makes no sense to me. You can be like, well, he did one thing good, but I swear to God, every other thing that was like shit does not supersede, like, it does not get superseded by the fact that I can't even. I literally cannot.
It's terrible. There's no reason for him to like hate Hermione. Like people will talk about why he hates Neville, why he struggles with liking Harry because he looks just like James, whatever. What is his excuse for being a fucking asshole to Hermione Granger? The best person in the class. All she wants to do is do well. And he's a fucking asshole to her.
It's the fact that she is like Muggle-born, and he hates that he's half-blood. That's his. Because he hates.
But Lily was a Muggle-born.
But it's the same thing of like, well, when you like are able to just be like, well, this is the one person who's different. Like people who like, I'm not
right. This is the exception. Well, you're different than all the other exception.
Yes.
Ugh. I hate it. I hate it so much. It makes me so mad. Fuck this man. I can't wait till you die, Severus Snape.
I literally think this is like the worst thing he's done in this book series so far.
Oh no, it's terrible.
And
there's no defending. There was no defending him already, but like from this moment, guys, there's no way you can defend him. This is a 14-year-old girl that he is saying this to. Don't be a fucking teacher. You are the head of a house. Fuck right off. So Harry and Ron are yelling at him. I
almost hate that it like gets excused because her teeth get like fixed, quote unquote.
Oh, we'll talk about that too. I have something to say about that as well. It's like the ugly duckling thing that she does to Hermione in this book that I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know. Anyway, Ron and Harry both get detention because they rightfully so were yelling at Severus Snape. I fucking hate him. And then they start class and Colin Creevey shows up and he says he's supposed to take Harry upstairs actually. So sorry, Severus, you can't poison Harry Potter today. God, like
with literal poison, a plot in this chapter is that Severus is going to give a poison to Harry Potter. This is demonic.
The Wizarding World?
This is crazy.
The Wizarding World is like the Wild West, I've decided. It's just like a free-for-all. No man's land, anything goes. The ministry says that's not true, but they like are winking at you when they say it. Like it's just
there are rules in place.
Yeah.
Well, we won't let anyone under 17 be the Triwizard Tournament unless for some reason their name gets drawn out of nowhere.
Oh no, and we have stipulations for what people can get away with, but talk to Arthur Weasley and he'll sort you right out. I mean, it's just like...
No one is allowed to do an unforgivable curse unless you're Mad-Eye Moody in a classroom like 5 days a week. He literally Imperio students.
He's Imperioing 14-year-old kids.
Oh my God. Probably younger.
Could have been younger. Yeah, I don't know.
You know he only has one lesson plan. For every grade, it's the same lesson plan. 1st year to 7th year. Everyone is learning unforgivable curses.
It's also just like every class, he's like, all right, Imperio again, let's go. Like it's just no shift, no difference.
Here's our They're in a trimester schedule, which really works for the Triwizard Tournament, but also for the 3 unforgivable curses. So good luck in the third trimester when you have to escape getting Avada Kedavra.
Better just jump, just dodge. Oh wait, didn't he say you can't dodge it though? I don't know. Anyway, so Colin is walking with Harry and he's like, "Oh, wow, Harry, aren't you excited? Wow, this is so cool. Oh, Harry." And then he like essentially drops him off where he needs to be, or I can't remember. Does he take him right there, or he leaves him before he gets there? I don't know. They go their separate ways. And then when Harry comes into the champion green room once again, wherever they are, Ludacris is there, the photographer, and then Rita Skeeta. They're all there. God. Yeah, here we go. Adam, did it ick you out that the old man photographer was like eyeing Fleur? I was like,
with the paunchy gut. The old photographer with the paunchy gut.
Yeah.
It would if another person wrote this book series, but at this point, I'm truly not surprised. You're not surprised by anything anymore.
It's just the fact that she's 17 and he's like, It reminds me of when I worked at Legends and like these old men would come up to the hostess stand when I was working there and I was like 16. And they'd be like,
"No, you can say man because they're all the same. They're all one. They're an amoeba."
Being a woman is so fun, guys.
It's great. I recommend.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Would do again.
But Fleur doesn't even notice because she's just having the time of her life talking to Cedric. And this was like, I was into this. I loved the idea of her being like, "Oh yes, and I just can't wait to start this test. You know, what do you think it's going to be like, Cedric?" Like, I just loved the idea of her being like, "Yes, yes. What are you going to do? How do you feel about this first task?" I was like, I kind of wish her and Cedric would have gotten together, but I know they can't because Cho. But I was like, I would have been into it. I would have been into Fleur and Cedric being a couple.
They also can't get together because he famously dies at the end of this book.
I know, but I just meant in this book.
In this book, yeah.
So Rita wants to interview Harry first, even though he like doesn't really know what's going on. So she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do a little interview with you before. Let's go into this broom cupboard. Wow, so cozy." And then she whips out her quick quotes quill, which cute. I do like the quick quotes quill.
This is almost line by line from the movie. Like this whole scene is almost like, yeah, it feels like exactly the same, which is cool.
Did she say you'll feel right at home then about the broom cupboard? She says that in the movie.
Yeah, I think she does. Yeah.
I can't remember. I remember being like, "Oh, you bitch." When she says that line, I was just like,
"You feel right at home then." She's so good. That's the same woman who plays Madame Giry in the Phantom of the Opera.
In Phantom. Yes. The whole interview with Rita in the broom cupboard is like cringe. She's like talking over him. Mm-hmm. Any answer that he does give, she's not even really writing down what he's saying anyway. Like he is glancing at the quick quotes quill and what it's saying. And he's like, what is she writing? I will say this was the first time in all of these books that any character mentioned trauma.
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay.
So we do know it's a word in the wizarding world.
Yes, it's a word that exists in the wizarding world.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan that Rita is the person that says it.
Yeah, because also not, she doesn't mean it. She doesn't mean it.
No. She's just trying to like get a reaction out of him. So to be clear, I know earlier we were like, is Rita wrong? Like, I hate her from this moment
going forward.
To be clear. Yeah, she's good. Terrible.
Yeah. She is iconic, but she's terrible.
She is an iconic character. Yeah, we love to hate her. Like she's
like, she's a fun villain. Like she's definitely a villain in the Harry Potter series, but she's like one of the like, she's like a Gilderoy Lockhart where it's like, yeah, it's like a good time. It's like, you got to have somebody like this.
It's a good time.
It's comedy villain. She gets a song.
She's a terrible person, but she's not like murdering people or anything. Like I'm talking about the other like Bellatrix is like a fucking psycho murderer.
Right.
Rita's just like a terrible, malicious journalist.
Yeah.
So
who just wants to like be popular. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Get your coins, girl. I don't care. You do you. Use your little quick quotes quill.
I wish that she would become like a science fiction author. Like she clearly would be really good at that.
Write a romance novel.
Hello.
I'll support.
Rita.
So romance novels are $1 billion industry, honey.
I'm just saying she has the imagination.
Also, she has a quick quotes quill.
Yeah. No carpal tunnel.
It's doing the work for you.
The word. It's doing the word.
It's doing the word and the work. Yeah. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today.
So yeah, this interview with Rita is not going well. Harry's getting really annoyed. And then right then, Dumbledore opens the cupboard door. Mm-hmm. And this was the line that you texted me about, Adam. And my note literally says, "Oh no, not mannish hands." Adam! That's literally what my note says.
Just why?
Oh God. These are the breadcrumbs, guys.
These
are the breadcrumbs.
Follow the breadcrumbs. Follow the spiders. Follow the breadcrumbs.
Follow the spiders, yeah. I was like, girl.
It's a bummer.
Oh no.
It's a bummer. Yeah.
Also,
do you know why? Do you know why Rita Skeeter is a villain? Because she has large mannish hands.
Yes, because she's not, she doesn't read as feminine across the board.
Yeah.
Also,
there's something off.
What makes someone's hands be mannish? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, what are you saying? Like, she has the long nails on her fingers, which a lot of people would say that alone is a very feminine characteristic.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what about, because her hands are big, because her hands are callous. Like, what are you saying? Like, I'm just like, there are plenty of women who don't have like dainty, delicate fingers. Doesn't mean they have mannish hands. The whole thing, I was like, no, what is this?
Only women can be hand models.
This is me being a hand model. What would I? Hairbrush.
Pen. Honestly, I have the manicure for it.
I have the manicure for it. Yes. Yeah. See, so like Adam's hand. What would we say? Mannish or feminine, JK?
I don't feel like asking.
No.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
No one cares. No one cares.
No, but I do like this moment with Dumbledore because he I love him calling her out. And I love one thing I do love about Dumbledore is that he does not care what other people think in any way whatsoever, which is great.
But he'll hold them accountable to what they said.
He'll hold them accountable, yeah. But I also love in this moment how she describes that the door opens and immediately the quick quotes quill is gone and she's folding something into her bag and closing the bag so quickly. I was like, I kind of love that it was so fast that I thought it was cool.
Oh, Dumbledore. Oh, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that Dumbledore just straight up called her out. I was like, I want to get on this level where you're just like, oh yeah, I remember that one time you were an asshole. Would love to hear the excuse. Anyway, just really with a genuine smile on your face. Yeah. I'd love to hear the reason behind the rudeness. I loved that. I'm like, I'm going to steal that and put it in my pocket. So he takes them back to the
catch a falling drag, read and put it in your pocket.
Yeah, this like confirmed. Okay, this moment confirmed that Dumbledore is the queen.
Dumbledore is
honey.
gay.
Confirmed. Yeah, I was like, he went to Madame Maxime later and was like, "Girl, she tried it, girl."
Let me tell you what I just said to her. Hold on, wait for this. So good.
So they come back to the champion green room and they start talking about the wands. Mr. Ollivander, yay, he's here. I love him. He starts talking about the wands and he looks at Fleur's wand first, and her wand contains the hair of a Veela because her grandmother was a Veela.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do this. We're going to get into this.
Veelas are beings then.
Humanoid beings. So we're going to get into this. So
here we go.
Her grandmother had her mother. Can Veelas only have women?
In this podcast.
Well, it's like, let's go with this, right? So a human man met her grandmother Veela, and then they had a baby. I don't know if they stayed together. We don't know, because I'm just like, but a Veela is a creature, is it not? So like,
no, it's a being, because there's creatures and there's beings. Yeah.
So she lived a normal life in wizard society, even though she was like a humanoid bird woman mix.
Only when she gets mad.
I'm like, okay, so we're going with this. So she had her mother, grandmother had the mother had Fleur and her sister. So can they only have women? If it's a Veela, can they only have women?
Oh, did they say that it was
female offspring?
Maternal? It was her maternal?
We meet her mother later, and she is half Veela.
Oh, okay.
Yes. When her and Bill get married, they come to the wedding.
Right, yes.
So can they only have women? I'm assuming that maybe that's the case. That's what I'm assuming. They only have female offspring. But then I don't know. I just am having a hard time. It's kind of the same question I'm going to have when we get to the Hagrid of it all. Because it's like, okay, did they just conform with society? Was there like a Veela tribe and then like a human village that were close to each other? So they just like intermixed? Like, what's going on here? How did she just have a half human baby that successful easily? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll ask Hagrid, because he's currently crossbreeding, so we can ask him how that works.
I mean, I guess it's just like interspecies, like a lion, tiger, liger. I guess
I would be interested if like Veelas can have male or like boys.
I'm convinced they can't.
But they're just normal. Like they're just like a male Veela's just like, hi, I'm Joe.
Hey, I'm Chris.
Hey guys, my name's Tony. I'm Veela. Tony Veela over here.
Whoa, Tony, your mom is so hot. Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah.
Whoa, your sister's a babe. Yeah, she's all right.
She's my fucking grandma. Why am I doing like I'm doing like a Family Guy voice?
Yeah, you are doing Family Guy voice. I don't know. I will never have the answers about this, but there is a part of me that's just like a full-on Veela. There's a part of me that wonders if the Veela like had the baby and then just like raised the baby in the wild, and then like she eventually was like, well, you're gonna have to go into human society. Give me the origin story of Fleur's mother. Give it to me. I will read it. Okay? I want to know how this all went down.
Veela had been known to marry wizards, although it is unknown whether any married muggles. Children of these unions were half Veela, and they would inherit magical ability from their wizarding parent and beauty and charm from their Veela parent. Veela traits seem to persist for at least a few generations, as seen in the part Veela Delacour family. It is unknown whether half-blood or less could throw fire or transform into the harpy-like creatures as their full-blooded relatives could.
Right. Okay.
But if there's no male Veela, then how do you keep having Veela?
Right. How are the full Veela there in the first place? Yeah, see? That's... Joe, what's going on here? This is why you can't make a creature that is like... Oh.
The Harry Wiki says, their looks and especially their dance were hypnotically seductive to almost all people attracted to women.
Oh, interesting. Of course now.
Oh, interesting.
Retconned that real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really say anything about male Veela. Yeah, I don't know. This is boring. Let's move on. That's
okay. Well, we'll never actually know the answer, but I can confirm that there are no male Veela, basically.
There are no male full-blooded Veela.
Do they just like, because they're like part bird when they get angry, are they just like born out of like a bird's egg? Like an ostrich egg? And it's just like, oh, and it's a Veela. Like what? Do you know what I'm saying? Like how?
Right, but then you also have to have reproductive organs that like work for a human to use.
Human, exactly. That's why I'm just like, what? Give me the origin story, please.
A beautiful tree. There's a nest in a tree.
Yes, and right. Exactly.
They're birds. Harpies.
They are. So Fleur has her wand with her grandmother's hair in it. Cedric has an Ollivander wand. And then Crumb has a Gregorovich wand. Remember that name, listeners? And Mr. Ollivander...
I don't even know. I don't even know.
Oh, Adam doesn't know. Adam, remember Gregorovich. Mr. Ollivander
Is this the Eastern Ollivander? This is like this is the other Ollivander, like the other guy who sells wands, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Does it have something to do with Voldemort?
You're like
later?
Vaguely. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Adam's I have a little bit of an image now coming to mind. Mr. Ollivander vividly remembers Harry's wand. I mean, he remembers Cedric's wand too, because he like remembers the unicorn that he was like, it almost took me out trying to get those hairs, which I thought was very charming. I was like, oh, I love this. I love that he knows like all the wands, the details of each wand and how he got the materials for each wand. I love it. It's so great.
She also included the how you measure like horses. She said it was almost 15 hands.
Hands, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The weirdest way to size an animal.
Yeah.
Hands.
I love the bit with the wand lore. I love it. So he very vividly remembers Harry's wand, and Harry's like, please don't tell everyone about my wand. That Voldemort has like the twin to this one. Please don't tell them, especially with Rita Skeeter being here. To which he doesn't. He just is like, oh, wow. And like looks at it for an extra long time and then hands it back to him. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, okay, well, bye-bye. And then they're like, no, we have to do photos. And this bit was funny to me because it was like, first off, they couldn't get Madame Maxime in the photo. So then she had to be in the center with everyone sitting around her. Then the photographer, is like bringing Fleur to the front, but then Rita's bringing Harry to the front. And then they're just like, okay, well, let's just all do one-on-one portraits, single portraits of each champion. And then they're actually free to go.
This will come back later.
Yes, it will.
The single portraits.
Yes, the single portrait. So Harry goes to the Great Hall, but Hermione's not there. So he eats alone.
It's very sad. I mean, he's technically the Gryffindor champion, so I'm a little shocked that no one wants to eat with him.
Right, yeah. No other Gryffindors are like, oh, hey, come sit with us.
You know what? No. I know this isn't true, because the Creevy brothers were at that table like, come here, and he was just flat out ignoring them.
Yes.
I actually don't feel bad for you, Harry. You're an asshole.
Adam's flip-flopped again.
Yeah.
He's back to not liking Harry.
Yep.
So he eats by himself, and then he is off to the dormitory, and when he gets there, Ron is there, and Ron, like, very curtly is like, you got an owl. Also, we have to do our detentions together. And then leaves.
Bye.
And Harry's like, yeah, bye. And Harry's like, do I go after him? Like, there's a part of him that's like, I want to talk to him, but I also want to like punch him in the face. So no. And then he's like, well, I want to know what Sirius said. So let me just look at that. So Sirius has responded and he says that they need to talk right away. And he asked for Harry to make sure he's in the Gryffindor common room alone at 1 a.m.
I can't wait to get into this conversation.
There's no way that the common room would be empty. I'm sorry. I just think the older kids are going to be
teenagers
up at that time.
I don't understand.
Or someone like fell asleep in the common room.
I don't understand how you would have a space with couches available and there are teenagers with raging hormones.
Oh, yeah.
And there is not semen all over that fucking couch.
They don't talk about people making out until the next book. And I'm like, no, people were making out in that common room all the time.
All the time. All the time.
There's no way they weren't.
All the time.
Sorry. Cedric Diggory in that Hufflepuff common room, I would be like, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to go over to that couch right there?
Go over here? Come here.
Hey, Cedric.
In our little hobbit hole.
In our little hobbit hole. Hey.
Helga
so
Hufflepuff.
Helga Hufflepuff. Yeah, anyone could go in there, honestly. All the fangirls are just going into the Hufflepuff common room to see Cedric. So yeah, I thought of that right away. I was like, there is no way that no one's gonna be in that the common room is gonna be empty. There's no way. There's gonna be someone in there.
We shall see.
I'm not buying it. But that's it. That's the chapter.
Yeah, make it 3:00.
Yeah, girl. What?
Well, there's going to be some people working at 3 a.m.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Wait, no, great point. The house elves would be in there, if not the students. So, like, anytime. Boo. Boo.
Boo.
Boobo tuber.
Boobo tuber. Anyway. Great. Well, that wraps up this chapter. Next week, we'll be reading chapter 19 called The Hungarian Horntail.
I wonder what that could be about.
I wonder.
You're right, though. You are correct, Adam. Then they must have gotten that fourth dragon real fast. How? They have
a dragon on speed dial? Like
a fourth dragon on standby, thank you.
A reserve dragon.
Yeah.
We have a review, Ariana.
We do! Yay!
It is from A Westy 95. It is 5 stars. The title is 5 stars only, obviously.
Obviously.
They say, we love this podcast. Adam and Arri bring such bright and funny commentary to their rereading. Our favorite part is their singing. We finally took their threats about leaving a review seriously and dropped the 5 stars that they deserve. Thank
you for your review.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Well, they said they loved our singing. So give it. Never gonna end now. This is just for A Westy. Anytime we sing now, for you, A Westy 95.
For real.
For you.
For you.
If there wasn't a delay, I'd be like, let's harmonize, but it'll be delayed. So
no, it'll be bad. We can't do that. We have like 29 reviews. Okay. Great.
Wow.
Great. Very lovely. Here's what I'm going to say. I have analytics. Okay. I got some analytics to drop on your ass.
Oh, okay.
Our estimated audience is currently 122 listeners. We love to see it.
Thank you.
44% of those listeners listened via Apple Podcasts. 44% of 100,
where the reviews,
which is where the reviews are. 44% of 122 people is 53 people. So we're looking at you, girlies, that have not reviewed yet. Besties and girlies. Purr. We need some
it would really help us out.
Just go in there, do a little.
Just putting that out there.
And honestly, you know what you can do? You can just leave a wizard hat as an emoji. That's it. 5 stars and a wizard hat.
Yeah, just put your 5 stars in your favorite HP quote.
Yeah. Or your favorite K-pop group that you want us to check out. We'll also accept that as an option too.
We'll also accept that.
Yeah. Or the lyrics to
Anytime.
Darling, out now from 17.
You know, without you, I'm so lonely. Yeah, tell me your 17 bias.
Or tell me your theory on what the video is. You can tell me that too.
They're fears.
Well, thank you for your kind words. We do love hearing what you guys think. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get that perfect newt score that we're always asking for, 5 stars only, or else you'll be forced to drink poison.
Or walk a scroot.
Or walk a scroot. You know what? I was so mad about that entire section that I didn't even want to include it as the punishment because I was
he was like,
so annoyed by it.
Enough about the scroots.
I can't yell at her bringing up scroots and then also bring up scroots myself. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at HP Anxious. Maybe one day I'll check it months after you send me a message. Instagram at HP Anxious and YouTube at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Anchor and recorded on Zencaster, so thank you to the both of them. And we are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Ariana.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And as always, Knox.